You know, he always says, I'm just a small town country doctor. And that is such an understatement for who Jim Jones is.
My son built for me raised gardens, and then over the years, I got so interested, I took the courses and became a master gardener. Now I grow everything from seed and then give the plants away. That's oregano and basil and cilantro that all made it over the winter. I just have always been proud and happy of the fact that I grew up in a rural area. We lived in a house that my father and grandfather had built on 1 acre of land on a very small farm.
Growing up in Pembroke at the time that he did was a challenge. It was a very rural area with a lot of issues.
He was from the Lumbee Indian tribe, and in those days, there was no question that was a very disadvantaged community.
Me and my siblings were literally abandoned by our parents. A neighbor noticed that we were living alone.
That resulted in the 5 children going to live with his grandparents, and he gives his grandmother and grandfather great credit for instilling in him the value of faith and the value of education.
My grandmother had been a school teacher in a one-room school. She had a presence in the community so that people came to her seeking advice. And I remember her favorite parting statement. She would always say, "Remember to teach them more than you test them."
He was the first Native American admitted to Wake Forest and the first Native American admitted to the Wake Forest School of Medicine. He really broke barriers early on, but I don't know that he ever saw it that way, because he just always saw it as, I want to go to med school to help others and to give back.
I've always, as I got into medicine, developed a very strong opinion that you should not be disadvantaged for medical care just because you choose to live in a rural area. When I got to Wake Forest, the shift had been away from general medicine, and as specialties became organized, medical students were actually really sort of forced to make a decision about which specialty. And I had a worry about where the rural people were going to get their health care, because there were great areas of this state that had no specialists at all. That was why I devoted myself to general medicine, because of the people of this state. I love this state with a great deal of emotion.
Before he went into his academic career and his academy career, he was a country doctor in Jacksonville, North Carolina. He practiced the broad scope of family medicine. He saw the needs of a rural population.
That personal relationship with a physician is what every patient would like to have. And with him, every patient had a feeling of personal contact. There was no question when he chose to leave to go to ECU, he had the largest practice in town.
The mission of the school is to create primary care doctors in rural areas. So he was in many ways core to the mission.
And he went against the grain. That was not a popular idea. It was not part of the establishment.
What impressed me, and what has impressed me ever since, is his role at putting together a department. He created an emphasis that was attractive to students, faculty development programs, and he really put ECU family medicine on the map nationally. It became a center of people working in rural healthcare, and that was him.
Jim recruited a number of us from Wake Forest to come join him at ECU for our training. Every place he's been interwoven in the community. That example has spurred many of us to understand that being a family physician, being in healthcare, it's really our contribution to society, to the communities we live, that is part of the job. Jim has lived that. He's instilled that in all the people he's trained and who've become close to him.
There are family physicians all over the state that are in medicine because of the work he did. The ground he plowed, whether it was when he was involved in policy work with Governor Jim Hunt, or whether it's been now serving as mentor for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of family physicians. Almost everyone on this wall behind me has some story about how Jim Jones influenced them, how he encouraged them to take a leadership role in family medicine and in healthcare policy in our state.
He is probably the single most influential figure in North Carolina for primary care of this generation.
It's a thing of pride that I have, of knowing him and his being my friend. Yeah, it's been important to me.
So Jim, congratulations on tonight. Well deserved. You're a great man and a great friend.
I'm delighted to speak about you and for you and to you, and want to wish you and Michelle and all of your family congratulations. You are one of the people who's taught us all how to do it. I am forever in your debt.
I thank you for your friendship. I thank you for your commitment to healthcare in general. I thank you for your vision, and very proud of all that you are, all that you've done.